Adam, we've talked a lot with Feeding America people about how they work with agriculture and how they work with a farm. Thought it might be a good idea to ask a farm, how do you work with Feeding America? A company like L&M, you're huge. You're literally in 48 states and you got farms all over. Why would a company like L&M work with Feeding America? Other than it's the right thing to do and it's a good thing to do, what are the advantages to y'all as a grower? Why do you make that commitment? You're a huge part of that program.
Yeah, I mean, we've had a long-standing relationship with Feeding America. I mean, I've been with L&M for 16 years, and when I started, one of our very first things that we did was had a volunteer night at the local Feeding America food bank. I mean, literally. So our commitment to Feeding America goes back a long time.
Right.
I think, especially here in Florida, with the Feeding Florida group of Feeding America, we've really built this relationship over the last few years and really kind of worked together in partnership on different things. I mean, we kind of created the box program together. We've done a lot of business on.
We're talking about the box program. That's the program that was started by USDA for pandemic relief.
Correct.
And continues under different guises even today, where you're packing multiple items in a box. It's not just a box full of cabbage, a box full of broccoli. It's some tomatoes, it's some broccoli, it's some potatoes, it's
some bell pepper, it's some squash. It's a mix of items.
Right.
A lot of times we have fruit in there. And so, yeah, it's a box. It's kind of a grab and go. Mm-hmm. We kind of branded it a no touch. So it goes in the food banks and it can go right out to their agencies and be basically set right in the trunk of someone's car. And no one has to touch it, no one has to pack it. We do all that here at our facility. So we started that program with Feeding Florida, but also, you know, stuff like our broccoli and stuff like cabbage. I mean, when we have excess or we have stuff that gets too big or it stays too small, stuff that won't work for our retail customers.
It's funny when you say stuff that gets too big or stays too small. I mean, we've seen some of the items they were packing. We saw cabbages the size of basketballs, you know, and bell peppers that were this big. It's the kind of thing if you saw in the supermarket, you would either wonder what's wrong with those or what's wrong with the others, that they're not that big. So at the grocery level, they're looking for a consistency.
Different varieties vary, different weather conditions make for different sizes, you know, big or small or different shapes. And retail in general has a specifications that they require to be delivered. They want a pepper that's a certain diameter, or certain length, or certain width.
And in general, without an outlet for that, either through processing or something else, that food would just go to waste. It might be plowed back under.
It's the right thing to do for us because we're getting to kind of utilize our whole crop, but also just the benefit and the stories that you tell, the thank you letters and the emails that you get and the phone calls that you get. It's so rewarding at the same time. I mean, so there's a lot of reasons to do it that aren't financial.
Plus, I have never met a farmer, and I'm willing to bet you're about to join this list, who did not put stewardship first and foremost.
Absolutely.
You can't waste anything, and this food is too precious to waste. It's got to feel good just as a farmer to go, that's going to feed somebody.
Part of the working with Feeding Florida specifically here in this part of the state is, you know, we work with them on programs that allow us to harvest because, you know, there's a lot of publicity out there about, oh, you've got stuff left in the field, you know, why don't you donate it? Well, there's a big cost of donating it. I mean, this stuff's all cut by hand. It has to go in a container. It has to be cooled. It has to be shipped. So there's a lot of cost besides just growing it. Right. And so that's where our partnership with like Feeding Florida comes in is they raise money and they get donations and seek funding. They do a good job of getting some money to allow us to basically get it to that point so they can take it to their agency.
So the cost for you is defrayed and you don't have to plow that crop under.
Exactly. That's where I say it's a partnership. It's a win-win.
You know, and the beautiful thing about it is, I'm sure at the end of the day as a farmer, you don't care who's eating it as long as someone's eating it. And I know that's the mission of so many people in farming and so many people in agriculture, but an organization like Feeding America makes it easy for you to get that kind of help and assistance.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Truly, it's a partnership.